Bro really thought he was the main character. Our boy Seika was the server admin of exorcists until his own guild packed him up, forcing him to rage quit and ice sky himself just to touch some grass. But plot twist, he boots up his new life with all his old cheat codes still active, meaning this absolute gooner is about to be clapping toxic mobs by day and rizzing up certified baddies by night. Let's rewind the VOD to a few years back, to an era where Seika's aura was heavily in the negatives and he wasn't completely broken yet. See, back in his OG lobby, humans got so triggered by his maxed out stats that they literally sent his own apprentice to completely delete his account. Taking that massive L made Seika realize his build was trash, so he spammed a highly illegal server hop spell to reboot his entire existence in a fresh new world. Spawning into the VIP lobby of a ridiculously rich duke, his new dad, Blaze, drags him into a glowing magic circle to check his base stats, fully expecting some god-tier RNG. But in classic NPC fashion, Seika completely bricks the test, failing to pull a single elemental ability. This gives his ultra-toxic older brother, Glai, the perfect excuse to call him a worthless peasant who only got spawned in because their dad forgot to equip protection. Seika doesn't even care though, because he secretly still has his legacy hacks from the previous patch, sneaking outside to fold some basic leaves into actual literal animals just so they can scout the map for him. Fast forward a few years to this dude's birthday, and literally 0 people care because his mom was just a side quest for Blaze, leaving Seika with the social standing of an absolute bottom-tier footstool. Until one day, while Blaze is busy leveling up his main sons, Glai and Ruff, our desperate little simp begs just to spectate the lobby and finally gets the green light. Ruff blasts the target first, followed by Glai, who immediately starts griefing Seika, handing over the controller and daring the magicless loser to prove he isn't completely useless. Ruff tries to step in, but Seika nonchalantly grabs the wand, locking in and casually dropping a massive blue flame that completely uninstalls the target from reality. Catching his dad absolutely lacking in 4K with his jaw on the floor, Blaze starts coping, claiming that sometimes low-level NPCs can glitch out and cast high-tier spells. Smelling the momentum, Seika immediately demands to join the Premium Royal Academy servers with his brothers. But Blaze instantly gatekeeps him, slapping him with a private tutor instead. So over the next few months, Seika just grinds offline wikis to understand this new world's meta, eventually maxing his mana enough to summon one of his legacy pets, an absolute menace named Yuki, who he violently subjugated in his past life. The second this certified yapper spawns in, she literally mounts his magic wand, glazing him to the moon and crying about how much she missed him. Bro is terrified of getting banhammered for hacks, so he almost despawns her, but she quickly shapeshifts into a stealth build fox, swearing on her life to lay low. The very next day, our MC spots his toxic bro Glai trying to rizz up the head maid, Yifa, telling her to slide to his room for some special training. So Seika crashes the party, easily parrying Glai's absolute clown-tier punch. Once the raging bozo stomps off, Yifa hits Seika with the puppy eyes and drags him away to show off some bleeding woodland critter. She begs him to heal it, so Seika forces her to turn around while he uses an overpowered devious lick spell to transfer the damage. And after the rat scurries off, Yifa glazes him endlessly, but Seika's internal radar starts pinging because he realizes this maid is secretly packing some serious stats herself. Yifa tries to play dumb like a standard NPC, but Seika tells her to stop capping, forcing her to manifest a whole squad of floating elemental orbs that she casually uses just to speedrun her chores. Realizing this top-tier waifu has enough DPS to join his party, Seika starts aggressively coaching her on how to weaponize her elemental flames, plunging them into an absolute sweatfest of a training montage for the next few months. A whole year drops by, and Seika is surviving yet another deeply depressing birthday. But on his way back to base, Glai and Ruff corner him, demanding he join their sword PvP lobby. Glai starts yapping about how the military is the only place that'll accept a magicless bot like him. But before Seika can clap back, the servant NPCs start tweaking out because a massive raid boss is actively rushing their spawn point. They peek out the windows and spot a completely busted Elder Newt, causing Glai to instantly crash out and sprint for his pathetic life. Bro literally hit the "why are you running" meme in real time. while Ruff actually acts like a leader, ordering everyone to camp in the basement. Meanwhile, our simp MC sprints straight into the danger zone, just because his precious baddie Yifa is stuck outside. But plot twist, she actually manages to pop a fire shield to tank the monster's hit, completely flabbergasting Seika. And once she safely repositions, Seika kites the aggroed beast right to the front lawn. Ruff watches this from the window, assuming his brother is about to get completely packed up, but then Seika dumps a massive poison AoE that instantly unalives the oversized lizard. The entire lobby freezes in absolute shock before immediately hyping Seika up to the stratosphere. And while Glai is still busy wetting his pants under table, Blaze respawns just in time to witness the legendary carry, immediately throwing a massive VIP feast. While stuffing their faces, Blaze interrogates Seika on how he unlocked a toxic fire build, and Seika just straight up caps, claiming he read it on Reddit or something. Falling for the lie, Blaze decides to reward his massive W, giving Seika the perfect opening to demand an invite to the ultra-exclusive Ladonia Academy. Remembering all the sweaty hours Seika spent grinding wikis, Blaze finally approves his whitelist application, completely shattering Glai's fragile ego as he starts furiously melding. But then Seika hits them with the ultimate simp request, asking if his waifu Yifa can tag along, which Blaze instantly rejects since she allegedly has negative magical talent. Unfazed, Seika begs for a quick skill showcase, ordering Yifa to channel her elemental orbs right there in the dining room. She effortlessly drops a mid-tier fire spell that stuns the entire table, forcing Blaze to accept her into the Academy squad too. Glai is literally foaming at the mouth at this point, whining that their guild never sends two sons on the same questline and that he called dibs first. Blaze coldly agrees that 2 bros is redundant, so he casually exiles Glai to the infantry division since his brain is perfectly smooth and all he has is muscle. Crashing out completely, Glai screams that he deserves the academy slot way more, until Blaze brutally ratios him by exposing his entire history of griefing and toxic behavior. Left with 0 aura, Glai challenges Seika to a 1v1 duel to decide who actually gets the whitelist ticket. Seika confidently accepts the 1v1, and the server admin Blaze sets the match for high noon, banning all meta spells and physical weapons to keep things fair. A few hours later, his pet fox Yuki asks if he's currently drafting a lethal curse to completely wipe Glai's account, but Seika assures her he's not catching a murder charge today. Suddenly, someone knocks on his door, and it's actually Ruff, who somehow manages to hand over a totally unexpected birthday gift. Ruff actually drops a genuine apology for being a terrible big bro, admitting he just had 0 RIZZ when it came to normal human communication. Seika accepts the character development, right before Ruff quietly begs him not to absolutely hospitalize Glai in tomorrow's match. Retreating to his bed with his new glass pen, Seika chills out while Yuki admits that Ruff is arguably the only non-NPC in this entire chaotic family tree. But mid-sentence, Seika's spider sense goes crazy, forcing Yuki to cloak herself just as a massive hurricane spell literally deletes his bedroom windows. It's that absolute menace Glai, demanding they drop into the gulag right this second, forcing Seika outside to confirm if he really wants this smoke. Glai barks that Seika needs to cancel his academy subscription permanently, declaring this a deathmatch until one of them rage quits the server. He even copes by saying Seika was just insanely lucky that the raid boss showed up to farm him some free clout. The second Seika readies up, Glai spams his ultimate fire spell, but our boy tanks the hit like an absolute gigachad, brushing it off as a pathetic tickle. As Glai desperately button mashes heavier spells, Seika just pops a light shield and counters with a shadowban curse that completely paralyses Glai's nervous system. He then simulates the exact phantom pain of a shattered arm until Glai violently taps out and logs off into unconsciousness. Yuki immediately starts whispering intrusive thoughts, suggesting they permanently delete him so he can't leak their hacks, but Seika reminds her he promised Ruff not to end this bozo's whole career. Remembering Glai's pathetic cope about him being lucky, Seika drops a devious smirk, revealing he literally orchestrated this entire timeline 6 months ago. Turns out he spawned a high-tier tracker demon named Bance just to harass that elder newt and perfectly kite it right to their front door. Dragging Glai's lifeless body away, Yuki questions why he doesn't just conquer the entire server since all the players here are absolute bots. But Seika drops some heavy lore, reminding her that a squad of similar bots literally spawn-trapped him in his past life. This time around, he's fully dedicated to blending in with the NPCs, downloading all their meta strategies so he can literally never take an L again. Fast forward a few weeks, Seika and Yifa are finally packing up for Academy City, though Ruff totally side-eyes Seika for keeping the maid up all night studying. After Ruff delivers a final warning from the admins, they hop in the carriage, where Seika drops maximum RIZZ by gifting Yifa a blinged-out magic necklace to buff her elemental stats. Several days of pure travel later, Seika is fighting for his life with severe motion sickness, until Yifa hypes him up because they've finally breached the borders of the academic zone. They immediately secure a checkpoint at a local inn, and Seika proudly announces he booked her a private room right next door so she doesn't feel cramped. But Yifa completely crashes his wholesome vibe, leaning in and asking if he wants a special midnight visit since she is technically still his property. And this absolute brain-dead virgin actually thinks she's offering him a late-night snack, rejecting her instantly because he's quote-unquote already full. The second she leaves, his fox spirit Yuki starts screaming at him, explicitly stating that Yifa was trying to gobble his glizzy, but our dense MC completely brushes off the warning. Yuki aggressively begs this clueless gooner to read a single tutorial on how women work, because if he is this oblivious, the academy girls are going to eat him alive. The next morning at orientation, Seika senses a massive, suspicious aura pool, but completely ignores the obvious red flag just so he can start his placement matches. The proctor, Karen, hits them with the tutorial, explaining that they gotta touch a glowing orb that scans their elemental loadout. Yifa steps up first and instantly unlocks both the wind and fire trees, but when Seika tries, the orb literally blue screens, giving him exactly 0 elements. Instantly, the entire lobby starts flame roasting him, accusing him of being a pay-to-win Nepo baby who bought his way in, which deeply triggers Yifa. But before things get violent, a random peasant girl named Amu randomly steps up and flexes so hard on the orb that it nearly detonates, instantly shifting the aggro away from Seika. He tries to drop a quick thank you in her DMs, but she instantly blocks him, declaring that she absolutely despises rich kids who use VIP passes to bypass the grind. As she rudely struts away, Seika's internal database suddenly connects the dots, realizing this spicy redhead is actually a resurrected player from his past life. After surviving the brutally boring written exams, Yifa starts hyperventilating about her score, so Seika tells her to chill out and just focus on the physical DPS test. Right then, he spots Amu casually carrying a massive broadsword, which makes absolutely no sense to him because she already has enough raw magic to nuke a city without any weapons. Minutes later, they get thrown into the training yard, where the instructor, Cordell, tells them to just unleash their flashiest ultimate moves on some dummy targets. While the rest of the generic NPC students flex their painfully basic skills, Yifa steps to the line and casually drops a tactical nuke of fire, instantly melting her target to slag. The entire class is absolutely gagged because her base stats are supposed to be literal trash. But then she doubles down, firing off a hurricane-level wind slice that completely deletes the second target from the server code. Seeing the horrified expressions on everyone's faces, she nervously apologizes for sweating too hard and asks Seika if she did a good job. Completely unaware that our boy is fighting back literal tears of joy because he never expected his very own simp trainee to become a top-tier raid boss so fast. So this absolute bot steps up to the plate, and the whole lobby is fully expecting him to drop a massive L since his stats are supposedly garbage. But the second he casually drops a legendary blue flame to ignite the first target, their jaws literally hit the floor. Our simp MC doesn't even blink, immediately crystallizing the next dummy with a completely unhinged spell that Cordell has never even seen in the patch notes. This forces the proctor to literally call a timeout, demanding to know what kind of devious hacks he just witnessed. Knowing he can't leak his previous life's code, Seika just pulls a random fake name out of his behind to cover his tracks. And for his final target, Bro starts casually waterbending like he just unlocked the avatar state on easy mode. While Cordell and the NPC students are completely malfunctioning over this freakish display, his top-tier baddie Yifa is practically foaming at the mouth with hype, because her master finally silenced the haters. Later that day, Karen links up with Cordell to review the VODs, and she absolutely loses her mind when she hears what Seika and Yifa pulled off with their trash-tier magic stats. But hold up, Cordell drops an even crazier bombshell, revealing that the peasant girl Amu actually speedrun the entire course by destroying targets with every single element. Hearing this makes Karen realize she might literally be the legendary server admin destined to pack up the Demon King. A few days later, the official leaderboards drop, and Seika's fragile ego gets absolutely ratioed when he realizes he placed lower than his own maid. More days roll by, and the crew finally gets their official whitelist access as students of the academy. That evening, they slide into the entrance ceremony, but Yifa's radar starts pinging when she spots a squad of shady dark elementals floating around. They decide to tail the shadow orbs, leading them straight to a massive, highly suspicious glowing magic circle that immediately gives Yifa negative aura vibes. Seika's internal anti-cheat also flags the area, but he gaslights Yifa into ignoring it while secretly dropping a stealth drone to monitor the situation. Minutes later, they head back inside to chill, and while Seika stuffs his face, Amu takes the stage to address the lobby as the freshman rep. But bro barely has time to swallow before his spidey senses tingle, warning him the circle just activated right as a whole squad of lesser demons absolutely breaches the front doors. The whole room crashes out in panic, and the boomer teachers almost get instantly packed up trying to fight back, until Amu steps in, blocks the hit, and tells the weaklings to go sit down. While she's busy carrying the raid, our boy Seika notices the demons are lagging super hard, proving someone is actively controlling them via Bluetooth nearby. Checking his stealth drone's feed, he spots the caster and immediately tells Yifa to retreat so he can go handle some highly devious business. Flexing his completely balanced teleportation hacks, he pulls up right behind the demon, who glazes him for actually having the stones to face him solo. But he still calls Seika a brain-dead moron and immediately spawns 3 minions to jump him. Seika effortlessly logs out the first 2 and casually traps the third one in a jar for his own highly questionable personal use later. This instantly makes the demon boss, Gull, realize he's not dealing with your average free-to-play student. With a cocky smirk glued to his face, Seika dances around Gull's spam attacks until the author realizes the MC is too overpowered and gives the demon a random teleporting sword that almost takes Seika's head clean off, forcing him to finally lock in. But after dodging another sweaty combo, Gull teleports right into his blind spot and literally hacks off one of Seika's arms. You'd think bro would be crashing out over missing a limb, but plot armor is a hell of a drug, so he just giggles like a psychopath and asks what this bozo even wants. Gull admits he's stream sniping the legendary hero, who is supposedly destined to delete the Demon Lord. Seika tries to play dumb, asking if he actually believes in bedtime stories, but Gull calls him a smooth-brain NPC for thinking the legend is fake. He aggressively confirms the hero is 100% real and is currently disguised as an overpowered red-haired baddie. This absolute gooner instantly accidentally name-drops Amu, practically handing the demon the exact coordinates, so Gull thanks him for the free intel. He then brutally slices Seika's entire head off, dropping one last compliment on his fighting skills before turning away. Vine boom, you thought he was dead? Nope, Seika literally just glues his own head back on using his legacy cheat codes like nothing happened. Gull furiously spins around and lands another fatal headshot, but Seika just respawns again, forcing the demon to promise he'll keep spawn camping him until he rage quits for real. Deciding to finally stop trolling, Seika blasts him with a tsunami spell before summoning a literal lightning beast to drop a nuke on him. But somehow Gull tanks the hit and completely impales Seika's arm, which was actually a 500 IQ bait just to pull him into melee range. Having successfully lowered the boss's HP, Seika summons his ultra-rare dragon pet, Mizuchi, who instantly turns this demon into a mid-afternoon Scooby snack. But the very next second, the overgrown lizard tries to break out of the server, forcing Seika to violently yank its leash with his shikigami and shove it back into its pocket dimension. His useless fox waifu Yuki finally pops out of stealth, making excuses about not wanting to feed the enemy, before they stroll back to the main lobby only to find Amu has literally stacked the demon bodies like a twisted game of Jenga. Seeing her absolutely styling on the ops makes Seika realize his new main quest is to just be her shadow support, so she can soak up all the server aggro as the strongest player. Fast forward a whole month after the demon raid, and Seika pulls up to the academy to immediately get glazed by his personal simp Yifa. His absolute biggest goal in this new playthrough is to party up with someone insanely strong and leech off their stats like a typical parasite. Since Amiu is the undisputed final boss of the freshman class, he tries to slide into her good graces with maximum W RIZZ. But the second he says what's up, she instantly rejects him and tells him to shut his mouth permanently. Taking that massive L, Seika and Yifa are just minding their own business when a random pot of mysterious fluids completely crashes out from the roof. The gang's basically cooked, literally, until Seika pulls out a paper substitution jutsu to clutch a last-second teleport. It turns out the culprit is Professor Cordell, who pops his head out the window to awkwardly apologize for playing with his food, claiming it's some nasty monster blood smoothie for his research. He makes up some pathetic excuse about his ping being too high to catch it with light magic, admitting he's totally useless when it comes to dark arts. He drops another quick sorry and scampers off, allowing the traumatized duo to finally make it to class safely. Once they sit down, the professor announces that the upcoming Academy anniversary event requires some serious unpaid student labor. Apparently, the server's top 2 DPS players, Amiu and Yifa, have been drafted to carry the ritual. They literally have to drag the new student roster deep into a spooky forest temple just to get it blessed by the admins. Remembering the absolute bloodbath that happened during the demon fight, Seika's internal alarm bells start ringing, so he asks what happens if a student dodge queues the event. And the professor confirms that if someone backs out, he's automatically next in line for the quest. Without hesitating, Seika aggressively commands Yifa to forfeit her VIP pass, absolutely shocking the rest of the lobby. He completely disrespects her in front of everyone, claiming a literal slave has no business touching the sacred server logs. After class ends, he pulls Yifa aside to apologize for the toxic chat, leading her to realize he only swapped her out to bodyguard Amiu, who is currently catching massive hate from the student body. Yifa gets super insecure and asks if the crazy redhead is his secret type, but Seika swears he's only trying to secure an alliance because she's the strongest carry. Yifa starts coping hard, throwing a jealous fit and insisting she can grind her stats to become strong too. But Seika shuts it down, explaining that Amiu's ceiling is so ridiculously high that everyone will be forced to simultaneously fear and glaze her. A few days later, Seika successfully yoinks the roster and escorts Amiu into the woods. But this absolute baddie is highly suspicious, fully convinced he's trying to run a devious side quest on her even though he has Yifa at home. Our sweaty MC instantly starts sweating, aggressively capping that it's all a massive misunderstanding and that nothing sus is going on. So he is 100% definitely not trying to looksmax his way into building a full-blown mage harem. Suddenly, Amiu gets hit with a massive lag spike in her brain, and before Seika can even react, a hidden trapdoor circle literally sucks them straight down into an unmapped dungeon. 3 toxic lizard men try to spawn camp them, but Amiu just chucks a tactical nuke of a fireball, wiping them out like a bot lobby warm-up. But hold up, a massive ogre immediately third-parties her from behind while she's busy aura farming, forcing Seika to violently delete its hitbox with a giant wooden pillar before any of her precious aura can be lost in combat. Amiu is absolutely flabbergasted by his unauthorized melee build, so he just lies and says he's been doing some intense LARP training. After surviving the ambush, they start pushing deeper into the dungeon, while Seika literally glues glowing post-it notes to the ceiling to light the way. His pocket fox Yuki questions his chaotic strategy, and he explains he's just dropping breadcrumbs for his surface drones to hopefully find them and pull off a rescue. But right on cue, another massive wave of mobs crashes the party and Amiu goes full psycho mode again, only to get caught lacking and knocked completely unconscious, forcing Seika to instantly drop the pacifist act and start aggressively shanking the monsters with wooden stakes like a rabid vampire hunter. Realizing his favorite DPS carry is out cold and he doesn't need to hide his power level, he summons a demonic, nightmare-fueled centipede that brutally packs up the rest of the stragglers. Sometime later, Amiu finally reboots and is absolutely shook to find the entire dungeon room completely cleared of ops. Her head is still furiously throbbing from the lag spike, but Seika casually drops an antivirus barrier around her, instantly curing the headache and explaining that it blocks incoming targeted curses. He casually mentions that it acts as a firewall against magical debuffs, which makes her realize she was actively being hacked. She mentions the debuff started the second she logged into the academy, but claims her avatar has no visible curse marks, so it's probably just a glitch. This prompts Seika to explain that some high-tier hexes are coded to hide in completely unseeable blind spots, which immediately gets her paranoid. She aggressively orders this absolute gooner to turn around so he doesn't get a free peek at her premium skins, before literally stripping down in the middle of a dungeon to run a full-body diagnostic. But even after bearing it all, there's literally zero visual evidence of a curse anywhere on her, proving that whatever hacker targeted her used some completely next-level encrypted malware to hide it. Since the barrier is the only thing keeping her ping stable, it's undeniably a malicious curse, causing Amu to start crashing out, wondering if she's going to be permanently IP banned to this tiny circle forever. But our boy Seika hits her with that 500 IQ play, casually plucking a strand of her hair to craft a literal dummy account, perfectly rerouting the curse's aggro so her main account doesn't have to suffer the debuff anymore. Taking a quick breather to regen their stamina, they sit down for some deep talk, and Amu immediately tries to expose him, claiming his little maid Yifa is totally down bad for him. Seika completely deflects, swearing they're strictly platonic family members, which makes Amu literally burst out laughing. Because a high-tier noble treating an NPC slave like family is pure, concentrated fairy tale cringe. Dropping the law drop, Seika admits his own guild always treated him like an outsider, and Yifa was the only one who didn't act like a complete weirdo. This prompts Amu to share her own deeply traumatic backstory, but since it's a touchy subject, Seika asks what her actual hobbies are, and she deadass says violence. Turns out this certified menace has been addicted to throwing hands since she was a toddler, completely terrifying her parents, while the rest of the server was busy being scared of catching a permanent game over. She literally trauma dumps about a time her entire raiding party got wiped out, but instead of logging off, she was craving more blood, leading everyone to realize she's an absolute psycho. She confesses she only joined the academy to hit the level cap, thinking that if she became the undisputed strongest, fighting would finally get boring and she could live a normal life. After clapping those demons earlier, she got way too much dopamine and thinks her brain is fundamentally broken, but Seika completely validates her unhinged behavior, earning a genuine thank you for letting her vent. With the wholesome moment over, Seika locates the exit and they step straight into the final boss arena, coming face to face with a massive toxic snake. The oversized noodle immediately spews a wave of acid at Seika, but Amu perfectly aggroes it with a massive wind lance, giving Seika the opening to literally nail it to the floor with a steel beam, right before Amu dumps a massive fireball combo that obliterates the boss's HP bar, finishing it with a brutal head stab before hugging Seika and looting a legendary sword while he snags a magic ring. Having cleared the dungeon, they escape and immediately report the glitch to their professor, who is absolutely clueless because the underground map wasn't in the patch notes. And since the trapdoor script was fully deleted, they have zero leads on the hacker. But later that night, Seika goes full stealth mode and slides straight into Professor Cordell's DMs, casually kicking down his door to announce that his villain arc is over. The professor starts sweating bullets, genuinely believing he had permanently wiped his entire search history. But Seika brutally roasts his Harry Potter cosplay, exposing him as a complete traitor who sold his human account to work for the demons. Cordell tries to flex his custom-built curse, but bro really thought he could out-hack the server admin, so Seika effortlessly reverse unos the spell, causing the toxic bozo to violently bleed out on his own carpet. Seika actually gives him a tiny bit of credit for coding a curse from scratch, but reminds his corpse that exorcists literally invented the entire meta. Afterwards, his fox Yuki pops out to ask how he perfectly stream-sniped the culprit, so he explains his drone picked up trace amounts of exclusive flower pollen near the crime scene. And now that the lobby is finally scrubbed of hackers, he genuinely hopes he can just go back to being a completely normal, unassuming NPC. The very next day, this certified simp hands over a magic ring to his maid Yifa to boost her elemental spawn rate, right before Amu pulls up, and Seika instantly tries to run some more RIZZ on her. But he gets violently friend-zoned again, leaving him fully convinced that women are just an impossibly bugged mechanic in this new server. Fast forward an entire year, Seika and the squad have officially hit sophomore status, and the academy drops a massive VIP feast to celebrate. Amu gives Yifa a shout-out for hard carrying her through exams all year, massively relieved they can finally touch grass and eat normal food instead of catching a random demon curse. Meanwhile, Seika has literally plastered the entire school with hidden cameras, paranoid out of his mind, but 0 demons have actually pulled up to the lobby yet. Suddenly, the vice principal intercepts him and Yifa, demanding they report straight to the principal's office, causing Amu to immediately roast him for catching a ban, but Seika's danger sense is going completely crazy. At the exact same time, a completely random goth baddie is literally stream sniping them from the rafters, playing ninja in a school full of generic magic casters. The following evening, as they're heading to the head admin's office, Yifa admits she literally has no clue what the principal looks like, since the vice principal basically runs the entire server. They breach the office and find an actual literal dwarf running the joint, who instantly tries to ratio Seika by saying she fully expected him to be an arrogant, entitled bot. Seika completely ignores decorum and tells her he's just shocked one of the 7 dwarfs is a server admin, which instantly triggers her because apparently that's a massive slur in this universe. His totally unhinged chat actually gives her flashbacks to his uncle, but she decides to ignore the toxicity and straight up orders him to register for the upcoming PvP tournament. She then spawns in the ninja baddie, revealing her name is Mabel, and explains the academy only gets 2 whitelist spots, so they are going to be a duo team. Later in the cafeteria, Amu overhears this intel and immediately starts crashing out over not getting picked. She's been solo carrying the entire squad like an absolute pay-to-win smurf, so she aggressively questions why mages are even joining a sword tournament, and when Yifa confirms the meta shifted to allow magic, Amu mouths even harder because she's a master at both. Seika completely reads the room and figures the principal is intentionally gatekeeping her, because if she pops off too hard, the royal guard will forcefully draft her. Amu then angrily demands to know why he got the invite instead of his top-tier maid Yifa, and Seika tries to play humble, but Amu straight up tells him he's capping. Later, while touching grass in the garden, they start theorizing about this Mabel chick, and Amu confidently claims she must be some rich Nepo baby who bought her VIP slot. Speak of the devil, Mabel suddenly unstealths right behind them and brutally ratios Amu, flat out stating she got benched because her stats are garbage. Catching negative aura from that roast, Amu literally violently rips wooden swords out of random students' hands and challenges this baddie to a 1v1 on the spot. They lock in their stances, and Seika's internal radar goes off because Mabel's stance is actually radiating top-tier aura. Yifa starts panicking and suggests they call an admin, but Seika absolutely needs to see this VOD, so he officially starts the match. Amu aggressively pushes first, but Mabel flawlessly parries the attack and instantly counters. Amu's HP bar metaphorically melts as she gets completely folded and sent straight to the floor. Mabel immediately hits her with the toxic emote spam, and Amu copes by crying that she clearly used hidden magic hacks. Mabel coldly states that Amu is just a weak noob who expects extra lives, and she then aggressively warns Seika to drop out of the tournament if he's planning on throwing. Seika hits her with a sarcastic thank you, and she moonwalks out of there with literally all the aura Amu just lost. Yifa rushes over to check on the humiliated main character, who picks herself up and declares she's locking in for real this time, and somehow, this leads to Seika being trapped in a carriage with Mabel heading to the capital. Seika is completely flabbergasted as to why Yifa and Amu actually managed to join this lobby. Yifa claims she's just fulfilling her role as a dedicated servant, while Amu is literally just there for the vibes, fully admitting she just left the server without permission. Naturally, Seika immediately starts throwing up from motion sickness, and Mabel brutally calls him an absolute pathetic loser. Amu tries to defend him by demanding respect for his seniority, but Mabel drops a massive lore bomb, revealing they share the exact same spawn date. She just joined the server a year late. This causes Yifa to also leak her stats, admitting she too joined a year late, making her the oldest in the squad, which instantly makes Amu realize why her personal assets are so massively buffed. Mabel aggressively complains that the entire academy is full of unserious casuals, but Seika drops a galaxy brain take, claiming their skill trees are still actively developing. They finally breach the capital city limits, and Seika is still literally fighting for his life against nausea. Yifa begs him to go AFK at the inn, but Seika's sweat level is too high, so he demands to check the arena brackets first. He scans the leaderboards and immediately realizes if he and Mabel don't choke, they're destined to 1v1 in the semifinals. Having collected all the necessary data, he finally agrees to go log off at the inn. Yifa desperately tries to play nurse, but he ruthlessly rejects her, telling her to go touch grass in the city with Amu. Amu tries to hit him with a suspicious joke about needing his alone time, but he instantly shuts down her brain rot. The second they despawn, Seika goes into full detective mode to figure out why the admins actively benched Amu for him. Tournament day drops, and the shoutcaster announces the new magic-friendly meta, meaning half the lobby is just straight-up mages. Every player gets handed a protective item that eats fatal damage, and if it shatters, you immediately get booted back to the spectator screen. Seika instantly realizes this is just a family-friendly filter, so the event organizers don't get cancelled for live broadcasting actual fatalities. Because apparently dead bodies ruin the viewer retention, so Seika loads into round 1, facing off against an unhinged ex-noble named the Mad Dog Speedster, a pure melee build who dumped all his points into agility and rage. This dude literally got permaban from his own family tree for being too toxic, so he's absolutely hyped to bully Seika because he despises rich kids and absolute virgins. The guy starts aggressively trash-talking mages, claiming their cast times are pathetic, but Seika literally just complains about his stomach ache, which makes the guy think he's already making excuses for taking an L. The round starts, and this absolute sweat instantly rushes and stabs Seika clean through. For a fraction of a second, the whole crowd thinks the MC just got one-tapped, but Seika pops a literal paper substitution jutsu and teleports directly behind him. Before the guy can even react, Seika triggers a knockback spell that violently launches the bozo straight out of bounds. Seika secures the W, but the entire arena is completely silent because the ping was so high they didn't even process what just happened. Realizing he just ruined his entire stealth build, Seika notes he seriously needs to start throwing a few punches before ending fights so he doesn't get flagged for hacking. Later in the locker room, his pet fox Yuki spawns in and interrogates him on how hard he actually plans to sweat this event, aggressively reminding him that looking like a main character is a massive red flag. She also calls him out for spamming his premium talismans, but he counters that he literally has to because he's using all his processing power to spy on Amu and Yifa. The next match features some random NPC named Bellum facing off against a shady merchant guard named Kyle. The countdown finishes and Bellum locks in, but suddenly he notices Kyle just intensely staring at him like an absolute creep. Seika's internal anti-cheat immediately flags Kyle as highly sus, and as Kyle slowly creeps forward, Bellum completely freezes up, literally looking like his controller died mid-combo. Kyle just casually walks up and shanks him, and after a moment of pure confusion, the brain-dead crowd starts cheering anyway. Zooming in on the replay, Seika deduces that Kyle is rocking the Evil Eye, a completely busted, highly toxic perk that lets him apply permanent stun debuffs just through eye contact. A few rounds later, Seika queues up for match 2, facing off against an absolute unit of a golem piloted by a chick whose entire build is dedicated to harassing mages. This toxic player starts gloating immediately, loudly announcing her pet rock was specifically coded to hard counter any and all magic users. She literally tells him to just hit the forfeit button now so he doesn't get completely humiliated on stream. But the literal millisecond the match begins, Seika stealth summons his sickle weasel demon, which instantly slices the massive golem into perfectly symmetrical cubes like it's a fruit ninja speedrun. The demon completely despawns before anyone even registers it was there. So to the absolute bot tier audience, it legit looked like Seika just clapped and airbended the golem into dust. The anti-mage chick's brain fully blue screens, utterly baffled as to how her hard counter just got casually deleted by the class she's supposed to counter. Seika hits her with the reverse Uno, suggesting she should be the one to hit forfeit, and she instantly taps out, handing him another free W. Strutting down the tunnel like a certified raid boss, he tells Yuki it was a real nail-biter, but Yuki is completely lost since the match literally ended in 5 seconds like a tutorial stage. Seika casually drops the law that summoner classes are completely hard-banned in this tournament, meaning if the admins had caught him using his demon, his account would have been instantly permanently banned for illegal activities, and he totally just styled on them. Meeting back up with the squad, Yifa starts totally tweaking after seeing Kyle's brutal execute earlier, aggressively begging Seika to drop out before he ends up on a live leak compilation. Seika brushes her off, claiming he's perfectly fine since he's been running illegal dark web spells his whole life, but Amu just whines that his matches are way too short and completely boring to watch. Complaining that he keeps vaporizing his opponents like they're 0 HP background characters, she casually asks if he's gunning for a spot in the Imperial Guard if he wins, but Seika immediately hits her with a hard no. Amu tries to hide it, but she is massively relieved to hear he isn't switching servers. And Seika drops some fake modesty, claiming he still might catch an but Amu literally cannot even comprehend him losing a 1v1. Up next, Mabel drops into her match against a completely generic Earth mage named Halo. He starts spamming his basic rock throw ability, but Mabel literally just slices the boulders in half like they're butter. Sweating profusely, he upgrades to heavier wall spells for defense, but Mabel's daggers just shred through his barricades like they're made of one-ply toilet paper. Amu is completely stunned at her DPS output, but Seika's analytical brain realizes Mabel is actively running gravity hacks, making her tiny daggers hit with the force of an absolute truck. Mabel eventually gets bored, rushes his position, and completely shatters his weapon, forcing him to hit the surrender button before he gets deleted. The shoutcaster completely glazes her, dubbing her the unstoppable hero, which makes Seika's brain lag, but Amu drops the law that the OG legendary hero was also named Mabel and rocked the exact same weapon loadout, making this entire situation highly suspicious. Later that night, some random green-haired NPC tries to send an encrypted DM via Pigeon, but Seika effortlessly intercepts the network traffic. The guy tries to throw hands, but Seika completely folds him, casually revealing he's been tracking his movements since he met with a shady data broker earlier. The dude tries to play tough and refuses to drop the password, so Seika literally spawns a mind-reading demon named Satori, violently ripping the raw data straight out of the guy's frontal lobe. Seika downloads the intel and realizes this absolute bozo is a demon sympathizer aiming to assassinate the hero, who they apparently believe is Mabel. Having successfully extracted the file, Seika lets the guy go, only to instantly tell Satori he can use the traitor as an all-you-can-eat midnight snack. Satori brutally consumes the guy whole, aggressively justifying the kill by saying leaving loose ends is a massive skill issue. But then Seika realizes this absolute menace of a demon is currently scanning his own brainwaves without consent, so he instantly threatens to permanently delete it, forcing the demon to back off before Seika shoves it back into his inventory. Yuki suddenly unstealths, having watched the entire horrific execution, and Seika casually drops an apology for the traumatic jump scare. He then summons his pet, Raven, to decode the intercepted pigeon message, but it's heavily encrypted, which deeply annoys him because he literally just turned the only guy with the decryption key into literal demon feces. Despite this massive L, Seika pieces the puzzle together, realizing the academy administrators are intentionally using Mabel as a decoy hero to draw all the demon aggro away from the actual VIP, Amu. Yuki starts asking questions about Mabel's actual backstory, and Seika logically deduces that Mabel is 100% a fake gamma tag, but he honestly doesn't care enough to dig deeper as long as she's actively tanking hits for his favorite baddie. The next day at the arena, Kyle effortlessly sends another victim straight to the gulag using his busted evil eye, while another try-hard student named Renews also easily advances, flexing all 4 elemental trees like he's the literal avatar, which instantly makes the entire audience glaze him like he's the actual main character of the show. Renews crosses paths with Seika and cockily guarantees they'll see each other in the finals, before Seika steps up and completely disrespects his next opponent, a pathetic necromancer player. Mabel also casually breezes through her match without breaking a sweat, and afterwards she directly confronts Seika, aggressively ordering him to forfeit before their semi-final clash, promising she will absolutely not hold back and might genuinely send him to the respawn screen, but Seika hits her with a hard decline. Meanwhile, Kyle's next scheduled opponent completely dodged cues, meaning the upcoming match is Kyle versus RIZZ. RIZZ. This man buffs himself with light magic to counter the evil eye, leaving Amu shook because he's already rocking 4 elements. Now he's out here trying to assemble the entire Avengers in one body. RIZZ starts wildly spamming fire, wind, earth and water abilities at Kyle, but Kyle just casually keeps walking forward like RIZZ is throwing wet paper towels at a brick wall. Seika's galaxy brain instantly realizes that Kyle is also running gravity hacks, creating a massive localized barrier just like Mabel. Starting to sweat profusely, RIZZ violently panic spawns a whole army of golems to shield himself, but Kyle just casually flexes his shadow magic and completely uninstalls them from the server. Desperate, RIZZ tries to push for a direct melee engage, but Kyle instantly snare locks him with shadow tendrils. And right before Kyle can slice this tryhard into literal sashimi, the server admins furiously blow the whistle and hand Kyle the W. Later that night, Seika is chilling out, thinking about heading back to the academy once the event ends, while Yuki aggressively reminds him that actually winning this tournament would completely destroy their stealth build. Right as he's about to log off for the night, Yuki randomly unstealths into her human skin and demands to sleep next to him, because apparently personal space is a myth. But then Seika's danger sense pings hard, and he spots Mabel literally stream sniping them from the roof using a shikigami drone. He reflexively dives to tank the hit for Yuki, which totally maxes out her affection meter. But then Mabel crashes the party, spamming throwing knives and brutally tackling him straight out the second-story window. Seika avoids a complete game over by chaining his spells and burning a premium body double talisman. And right as some random drunk NPC ruins the vibe, Mabel chucks a smoke bomb and completely despawns into the night. Realizing she completely dropped aggro, Seika tells Yuki they're going to hold position for the night. Cut to Mabel, who suddenly gets hit with a massive lag spike of a flashback, seeing some super blurry lore about her brother. But Seika instantly pulls up to her location, forcing her to immediately lock back into combat mode. He drops his weapons and says he just wants to chat, but she hits him with some heavy logic, questioning why he'd want to talk to the chick who literally just tried to send him to the gulag. But Seika's anti-cheat already detected that she wasn't actually going for a fatal blow, and she admits it, claiming she only planned to break enough bones so his prize money would barely cover the medical bills. She aggressively demands he hit the forfeit button because she absolutely has to reach the final bracket, telling him to stop sweating so hard and just step aside. Seika flexes his massive brain, revealing he already knows she's just a decoy account pulling aggro away from Amu, but Mabel corrects him, dropping the lore that her real quest is to actually get packed up by Kyle, so the demons think the hero is permanently dead. She trauma dumps that both she and Kyle were spawned in by the Rugrock Merchants, a highly toxic guild that specializes in brainwashing young NPCs into perfect, mindless bots. These twisted merchants run this absolutely cursed script where they literally hack into a kid's brain, deleting their fear, doubt, and free will completely. Basically formatting their hard drive and installing a pure combat virus. She adds that they group them up in squads of 4 to build maximum trust, just so they can absolutely shatter that trust later for maximum emotional damage. In the end, only one kid gets selected for the main upgrade, and they have to literally execute their other 3 squadmates to prove they are completely void of any humanity. Mabel admits her stats were considered trash, so she was assigned this suicide mission to just feed kills to Kyle. But she's secretly planning to completely disobey the admins, reach the finals, and absolutely delete Kyle herself. Seika's internal database instantly connects the dots, realizing her dyed hair and matching eye color. Realizing Kyle is her literal brother, she breaks down and explains his dying wish. If he ever turned into a monster, she'd be the one to send him straight to the backrooms. She says his current avatar is completely unrecognizable, because the real Kyle would never just randomly grief people, so she's locking in to fulfill his final request and free his corrupted save file. Seika asks if she honestly even has the DPS to beat him, but she says it literally doesn't matter, because either Kyle packs her up, or the Merchant Guild bans her later anyway like absolute garbage. Having downloaded all this heavy lore, Seika decides he's going to carry the raid himself, telling her he'll reach the finals and clap Kyle, ordering her to drop the massive emotional baggage. She starts completely dooming, convinced her save file is already corrupted beyond repair. Saying her whole playthrough was scripted from the start, but Seika aggressively promises he can hack the Matrix so she can return to the academy as a free player, swearing to be her personal bodyguard. The next day, the semi-final match drops, and Mabel spawns in wielding an absolutely massive, unhinged battle axe, completely dropping her stealth build to reveal her true heavy hitter class. She aggressively pushes instantly, but Seika effortlessly iframes through every single swing. He counters with some basic rock throws and vine traps just to check her stats. But she tanks the hits like an absolute unit until he secretly uploads a massive gravity debuff to her axe, making it weigh a literal ton, before upgrading his vines with liquid mercury. Seika easily disarms her by grabbing the axe, and she smugly claims he can't even lift it because of the insane stat requirements. But Seika just pops a lightweight talisman hack, casually hoisting the massive weapon and securing the W right then and there. The admins declare Seika the victor, and afterward he hits her with some heavy reassurance, telling her to leave the Kyle boss fight to him because he is the undisputed main character of this server. Loading into the final bracket, Seika faces Kyle and drops a quick "my bad" for griefing their entire suicide pact. But Kyle's corrupted AI literally doesn't care. His only active quest objective is that Mabel's account is still online, because his mission log won't clear until he personally deletes her. Seika tries to use his talk no jutsu, but Kyle's audio is muted. The match begins, and Seika instantly drops a massive red smoke grenade to break line of sight, following up with a fire blast, but Kyle's gravity shield eats the damage instantly. Seika quickly adapts, trying to snare him again with the mercury vines, but Kyle abuses his shadow step and just keeps W-keying forward like a literal Terminator. Deciding to stop messing around, Seika opens a portal and spawns an absolutely massive Minotaur raid boss. Kyle tries to spam shadow magic, but the beast is completely immune. The Minotaur effortlessly grabs him and completely folds him in half. Seika drops a cold line, saying if Kyle wasn't a brain-dead bot, the fear factor alone would have made him Alt F4. Seika actually plans to spare his life, but out of nowhere, Kyle gets hit by a massive, unavoidable curse, and Seika's antivirus reacts too late, leaving Kyle violently coughing up blood as his HP rapidly drains to 0. Using his final breath, Kyle sends one last encrypted DM straight to Mabel. Seika absolutely refuses to accept this game over screen and prepares to drop a highly illegal resurrection spell. But Yuki starts screaming at him, warning that using dev hacks like that will instantly summon the server admins, reminding him that's exactly how his old account got permanently banned, so he forces himself to cancel the cast. After the match, Seika completely gaslights the entire arena, claiming he completely atomized Kyle, and the clueless NPCs actually buy it, crowning him the tournament champion. But in reality, he's secretly planning to bury Kyle's body so Mabel can drop a proper GG. Seika passes on Kyle's final voice note, where he apologizes for ruining a 4-leaf clover, completely shattering Mabel as she gets hit with a massive nostalgia wave about the time he broke her favorite hairpin when they were noobs. And she finally breaks down, completely accepting that his account is permanently offline. A massive wave of relief hits her when Seika confirms she can finally log back into the academy and stop LARPing as a brainwashed assassin. As they head out, Amu aggressively challenges Mabel to a salty runback, revealing she actually downloaded the gravity magic skill tree too, completely flabbergasting Mabel. But miraculously, these two toxic sweat lords actually start vibing, instead of immediately throwing hands. Later on, the dwarf principal drops a massive lore nuke, admitting she actually orchestrated this entire event just so Seika could carry Mabel. She casually drops that she's been alive for 300 years and knew from day one that Seika wasn't just some basic noble NPC. Mabel logs back into her normal student life, but is absolutely getting filtered by the academic exams. And when Seika tries to aggressively coach her, she literally tries to combat log and escape, until Yifa snitches that Seika has actually been holding back his sweat level this entire time. A few days later in the cafeteria lobby, Seika is chilling with his squad of baddies when they start interrogating him about his summer vacation plans. He casually mentions he picked up a side quest from Blaze to go investigate some rogue dragon for the Kingdom of Asteria. Yifa heavily glazes him, claiming he only got the quest because his stats are so high, and immediately both girls demand to join his party. But Seika brutally rejects them, telling them to go touch grass at home, completely oblivious to the fact that these girls are desperately trying to max out their romance roots with him. Suddenly, Prince Cecilio of Asteria casually struts into the cafeteria with his personal assistant, an absolute top-tier elf baddie named RIZZ. He immediately approaches Seika, who aggressively complains that the admins should have just sent a messenger pigeon instead of showing up in person. But Cecilio claims he was just casually exploring the academy map. That is, until his radar locks onto Yifa, and he instantly starts dropping the most massive, cringe-inducing pickup lines like an absolute predator. But the entire server blue screens when he literally asks Yifa to join his personal royal harem. Yifa panics and stammers that she's strictly Seika's property, but Cecilio aggressively counters, claiming he has enough premium currency to completely buy out Seika's account. Right as Seika is about to throw hands and explain she isn't an NFT, RIZZ wisely suggests they take this highly toxic chat to a private lobby. Minutes later in the VIP room, Cecilio drops the lore that the rogue dragon currently griefing his kingdom actually used to be a friendly NPC in previous patches. Its sudden aggro shift has the admins completely confused, and even though it hasn't caused any massive server wipes yet, they want to patch the bug before it escalates. Seika questions how they even managed to tame a raid boss in the first place, and Cecilio explains it was allegedly spawned in by one of Asteria's OG queens. Catching a glimpse of Yifa again, he immediately tries to set up a dinner date, but RIZZ aggressively tells him to put his glizzy away and focus on the main quest. Way later, Seika is heading back to his room when Amu and Mabel literally abduct him into the bushes, demanding the full, unedited VOD of his chat with the prince. They're specifically sweating over what the prince wants with Yifa, forcing Seika to finally admit he actually heavily simps for her, but he copes by saying he won't block her if she genuinely wants to join the royal harem. Amu and Mabel instantly threaten his life, warning him absolutely never to say that garbage to Yifa because she will 100% misunderstand the vibes, and Seika hastily agrees. The next day, he groups up with Yifa in a carriage for the fast travel to Asteria. And true to form, his weak stomach immediately starts giving him massive debuffs. But his heart rate violently spikes when Yifa casually mentions that Cecilio tried to invite her to ride in his premium carriage. She then drops a nuke, saying it's actually kind of flattering to be scouted for a harem, leaving Seika completely malfunctioning because he has literally never unlocked the jealousy emotion tree before. Days of travel later, they finally render into the Asteria map, and the literal second they step out of the carriages, the dragon raid boss spawns in. While Cecilio is busy yapping about how it's ruining the local economy, the massive beast dive bombs straight toward their location. But then out of nowhere, an absolutely massive, unhinged lava tiger summons in, violently chasing the dragon away before locking its aggro directly onto Yifa. The molten beast aggressively charges her, but Seika instantly drops a high-tier ice wall to completely freeze its hitbox in place. But its passive fire damage starts melting the ice immediately, forcing Seika to actually lock in for a boss fight, until a random sweaty summoner named Zect violently yanks the beast's leash and resets its aggro. Cecilio completely loses his mind, demanding to know why this guy's illegal death pet is running loose, and Zect casually excuses it, claiming the dragon was griefing the spawn point while he was AFK. Cecilio then introduces this tryhard as the guild leader he hired to permanently delete the dragon. Seika's anxiety spikes, highly concerned that they're just going to permaban the dragon instead of finding a peaceful patch. But Zect obnoxiously interrupts, bragging that packing up a dragon is literally just a low-level side quest for him. Catching massive negative aura from this guy, Seika aggressively warns him to keep his toxic pets contained, swearing he'll absolutely vaporize them if they catch him lacking again. After telling Zect to kick rocks, Cecilio nervously warns Seika that beefing with a toxic peeker like him is a terrible idea, forcing Seika to drop a fake apology. However, Seika is still completely triggered by the plan to execute the dragon, knowing it's basically the server's mascot for peace and harmony. When Seika finds out Cecilio is moving like a snake, and hasn't even briefed the queen or the public on this hit job. He's officially done with the vibes. But Cecilio is tweaking, claiming it's his server, his rules, since his city is the one getting griefed by the dragon daily. Seika realizes he's yapping too much for a guest, so he pivots to Yifa and roasts her for standing there like a laggy NPC while the tiger was trying to delete her. He starts scolding her for her zero-tier awareness, and when Cecilio tries to white knight for her, Seika tells him to shut his mouth and stay out of family business. As they dip, he gets a traumatic flashback to when Mizuchi snacked on one of his students, deciding he's going to put Yifa through a training arc so brutal she'll never catch lacking again. The next day, after a deep dive into some ancient wikis, they finally uncover the dragon's actual lore. Turns out a past queen was a total dragon mommy who hatched a female egg and raised it to be the country's peaceful mascot. Years later, some wild male dragon pulled up to her mountain, they hit it off, and eventually dropped a new egg in the nest. But that was literally a century ago. The OG dragon is permanently offline, and the kid left the lobby decades ago to touch grass elsewhere. Yifa guesses the dad dragon is probably crashing out because he's lonely, but Seika decides to climb the mountain to see if the big lizard is actually capping. Yifa is terrified because the dragon's stats are broken, but Seika insists he's just there for the vibes, so she tries to simp her way into the party. He tells her to stay at the base, and she fakes a smile like a total pro, even though her heart is taking a massive L. Later that night, Yifa slides into Seika's room to drop some news. Cecilio just sent a "you up" text and summoned her to his private chambers. Seika tells her she doesn't have to entertain that creep, but then he sees her eyes watering and asks if she wants to camp out in his room instead. She's down immediately until she realizes there's only one bed, but Seika has zero social awareness and just offers to share the sheets like it's no big deal. They get all tucked in, but then Seika kills the mood by asking what she actually thinks of joining the prince's premium harem. She's completely baffled that he's even considering it, so he says it's actually a W offer if she's looking for that royal lifestyle. This absolutely triggers her, so she asks if he truly doesn't care about her getting shipped off to become a royal concubine. Seika admits he'd missed the free labor, but says she's gotta make her own moves in this game. The next morning, Yuki wakes Seika up and tells him he's a total bot for not realizing Yifa is head over heels for him. Seika is in denial, thinking she's just trauma-bonded since they grew up together, but Yuki swears on her life that Yifa has that real-deal romantic RIZZ for him. A few minutes later, Seika finds Cecilio on a balcony and asks why he's being such a thirsty gooner over Yifa. Cecilio says she's clearly got a high IQ, plus she's a certified 10 out of 10 baddie. When he tries to buy her out again, Seika repeats that it's Yifa's choice if she wants to join his collection of wafers. He mentions he's headed to the dragon's nest, so Cecilio wishes him luck while secretly plotting to slide into Yifa's DMs again. After Seika dips, RIZZ corners Yifa and takes her to a high-ground balcony to show off the kingdom's flex. She explains the whole city is a mana farm, which is exactly why the dragon is spawn camping there. Yifa tries to act like a magicless NPC, but RIZZ tells her to stop capping because she can smell the elf blood in her DNA from a mile away. She then tells Yifa to ditch Seika and join the harem because Seika is basically a terrifying monster wearing a human skin. RIZZ insists he's a danger to the server, but Yifa isn't hearing it, claiming she's been in Seika's party since level 1. RIZZ asks if he's even really Blaze's kid, and since nobody knows who his mom was, RIZZ guesses he might be a half-demon freak. That would explain why the elementals treat him like he has a permanent block on his account. But Yifa is a loyal simp and refuses to believe Seika is anything but a W for her. Meanwhile, Seika has successfully reached the summit with a little help from his summonable pets. He despawns the beast and casually walks up to the dragon to say what's poppin'. The dragon tries to pack him up immediately, but he has infinite iframes, dodging everything and summoning another pet to pin the lizard to the floor. After net-trapping the beast, he loots the nest and finds a single massive egg. Yuki is confused because the dragon is a dude, but Seika explains that dragons can literally swap their gender settings depending on the server requirements. Since the dragon mommy died, the dad literally respecced his build into a mom to keep the bloodline going. He realizes the dragon has been lashing out to protect the egg, so he decides to help incubate it like a good little babysitter. While he's on egg duty, RIZZ drags Yifa into the royal harem to show her the glamorous lifestyle she's missing. Turns out it's just a house full of baddies being trained to enter the political lobby later. They all seem genuinely hyped to be the prince's main squeezes, so Yifa tries to keep an open mind even though it's super sus. Back on the mountain, Seika is still playing Keep the Egg Warm, and he's honestly getting bored of the grind. Every time he tries to leave the lobby, the dragon pulls him back because it's clearly not ready for the responsibility of parenthood. Suddenly, RIZZ takes Yifa to the balcony where Cecilio is waiting with a couple of corrupt bureaucrats. They claim that if she just drops a thumbprint on this document and pays a small fee, she can finally be a free agent. Yifa says they need Seika's permission first, but Cecilio claims he can easily override the MC's admin privileges. He's yapping about how he's doing her a favor so she isn't a slave anymore, and if Seika gets salty, he'll just pay whatever price is on Seika's name. Yifa considers it for a split second before saying nah, preferring to wait for Seika, but the officials tell Cecilio to just force her to sign. They claim she'll thank them later, so Cecilio orders the guards to go hands-on and grab her. Yifa tries to summon the elementals, but RIZZ pops a silence barrier to keep the spirits from joining the fight. She then cuts Yifa's thumb to use her blood for the thumbprint like a total villain. But just as she's about to get the print, Seika pulls up with the dragon and explains the egg situation so they can stop tweaking about it. However, the egg needs constant fire magic to hatch, and since Yifa is the only one with those stats, he just yoinks her and dips. They make it back to the nest, but then that flaming lava tiger pull up again, and Seika uses his same old ice stun to trap it. Seika tells Zekt and his band of losers to stop hiding, because he already knows they're trying to poach the dragon egg. Zekt uncloaks and admits he was griefing Cecilio while trying to steal the egg, which is why the dragon was attacking everyone in the first place. When Seika tells him he's catching a massive L, Zekt just laughs and orders the tiger to go full beast mode again. But suddenly, the tiger gets absolutely blasted by a massive spell, and Seika is shook because Yifa is finally looking like a main character. Zekt sends his minions to jump them. But Seika isn't having it, using a single white flame spell to turn the tiger into literal ash. If that wasn't enough, the dragon returns, and Zekt's goons try to combat log and run, but Seika catches them all in 4K. Zekt tries to rage quit by blowing up the mountain, but Yifa incinerates his spellbook before he can click it. Way later, after Zekt and his clowns are behind bars, Seika tells Cecilio he just needs to help the dragon raise the kid to fix their relationship. But then Cecilio says, nah, unalive the dragon, claiming he needs a legendary kill to secure his claim to the throne. When Seika refuses to carry out the hit, Cecilio orders his men to arrest him for supposedly making the dragon go crazy. Seika is barely holding back his internal crash out until Cecilio tells Yifa she's officially joining the harem now. As he moves to grab her, Seika loses it and calls Cecilio a zero or a rookie who has no business being king because he's a trash leader with no RIZZ. He refuses to let Yifa stay with a devious clown like him, and finally, RIZZ tells the guards to drop their weapons. She tells Cecilio to take the L like a man, and then Yifa respectfully tells him his harem offer is trash. RIZZ asks for a private chat with her. Once they're alone, she tells Yifa that her love for Seika is obvious to everyone except the MC himself. She then marks Yifa with a special insignia to give her admin access to more elementals. On the ride back to the academy, Seika asks Yifa what kind of guy she wants to marry, totally fishing for compliments. She describes her dream man, but he tells her to touch grass because a guy that perfect doesn't exist. Somewhere else, some poor boy is watching his summons get absolutely cooked by a team of demons led by a dude named Zorman. Zorman says he'll spare him for the info he spilled, but the boy knows it's cap and summons a giant cyclops to defend his life. But Zorman easily clears the stage and tells his squad to snack on the boy like a piece of high-grade steak. Over at the royal palace, the princess is told it's time to move, and she gives the green light to head out. Back at school, Seika tells Amu he wants her to meet his family, and she immediately thinks it's a marriage proposal and starts tweaking. Yifa makes it even more awkward by giving her blessing, but Seika tells them to stop being weird because it's not like that. He explains it's just spring break, and his dad wants to meet the legendary swordswoman who's currently rocking all the elemental infinity stones. Amu is relieved she doesn't have to plan a wedding yet and accepts, and Seika invites Mabel too because his dad wants to see Baron Crane's daughter. Later, when it's just him and Yuki, Seika admits he's not hyped about going home at all because there's someone super important waiting there that he's not ready to face. When they finally pull up, they're greeted by his dad and his older bro, Luft. Seika introduces his harem, friends, and Yifa finally reunites with her dad, Edders. But the wholesome vibes die when Glai shows up out of nowhere, still salty about losing his academy spot to Seika. Surprisingly, Glai actually thanks Seika because getting rejected by the school forced him to join the army, which actually worked out for his stats. But he's still got that grudge, so he demands a duel with Seika to try and get his lick back. Amu asks if this is the delinquent that used to grief them, and when Yifa says yes, Amu steps in to handle the 1v1 herself. Seika says he'll only fight if Amu loses, showing he knows her DPS is cracked. Seika bans magic for this fight, and the duel begins. Amu is going full aggro, while Glai is just barely staying alive until he slips, giving Amu the perfect opening to end him. But just as she goes in for the kill, Glai whispers something and instantly disarms her. Amu screams cheater, thinking he used magic, but Glai says he didn't cast anything, meaning he just out-rizzed her and mental blocked her. Glai then demands his fight with Seika, still trying to restore his aura. But before they can clash, Princess Fiona appears and stops the whole lobby instantly, and Glai actually listens to her, which is the weirdest thing Seika has seen all day. Glai introduces her as Princess Fiona Urga Ligliv, the holy princess herself, and the room goes silent because royalty spawning in like this is never a good sign. As they head inside, Yuki's confused by the title since it sounds like a fantasy game, but Seika explains it's not an official rank. She's the daughter of both an emperor and a priestess, essentially winning the birth lottery with maxed out royal and sacred stats. Amu's wondering why a VIP is here, and it's revealed she specifically came to meet our MC. She asks them to be her holy knights for a few days before they escort her back to the capital. Once she dips, Amu starts questioning Seika, clearly suspicious that he used some kind of magic crystal ball hack to see her coming. During dinner, we get a flashback of Seika's dad in his library, asking Edders to speak his mind while they're alone. Edders admits he's not mad about the academy, but he hates that his daughter is serving Seika. Mostly because he thinks the MC is creepy and destined to start a massive harem. The dad has to step in, defending his son's performance at the academy. Back in reality, Seika's father is all praises, and his mom even asks him to write home more often, which shocks Seika since she spent years treating him like an invisible NPC. That night, Amu visits Seika just to hang out, and asks what his plans are after they finally graduate. She's going back to being an adventurer, and Seika actually remembers the promise he made in the dungeon to go with her. Unlike most people who ghost on their promises, he's actually planning to follow through. When he decides he'll become an adventurer too, Amu is stunned he took it seriously, but she's low-key hyped they're staying together. The next day, Seika takes Fiona on a tour, while Glai reminds him they're basically on a high-stakes escort mission for literal royalty. Fiona grabs his hand so she doesn't get lost, making them the center of attention in the market like a public spawn event. Their date gets cut short when a massive log falls from a nearby construction site. Glai reacts instantly to destroy it, while Amu creates a golem shield to keep the debris off Seika and the princess. Seika gives his thanks, but Fiona's actually annoyed he didn't use his main character powers to flex. Later, Seika buys her a scarf and helps her put it on. And when she wonders how she looks, he conjures a magic mirror for her. Glai finds his strange magic suspicious, but the princess is absolutely loving the gesture. The next morning, the princess is hunting for Seika like a royal game of hide-and-seek, but Seika uses his talismans to ghost her because he's allergic to social interaction. Yuki asks how her foresight even works, and Seika explains that while his divination is just educated guessing based on clues, the princess's ability is on another level, seeing the future directly without needing any tools. It's a straight-up cheat code, which makes it way more dangerous. While walking around, Seika jump scares Amu in the bushes like some spooky Halloween prank. She reveals she lost to Glai again, which confuses Seika because she's way stronger, meaning Glai has been leveling up while she's stuck at the same rank. She mentions the princess is playing solo chess, which is a bit sad, so Seika decides to join out of curiosity. Since no one else will play her, she asks if he knows the game, and Seika pulls the "I'm just a beginner" card. The princess nerfs herself, removing all her major pieces to leave only pawns just to make it a fair fight. Seika thinks this'll be a breeze, but she spices things up with a wager. Winner gets one request from the loser. She promises not to go too far, so he agrees and the match begins. As they play, she asks what the strongest piece is, and Seika argues the players are the real power since they control the kings, adding that politicians who can't be killed are the ones truly in charge. The princess agrees but drops some deep lore. She believes real power comes from those off the board entirely, meaning the normal people living in the country. Since she never had the knight's support, she gained the loyalty of the masses to carry her forward instead. Seika realizes this confidence comes from her foresight, and she's surprised he figured it out. She's grateful Glai told him, explaining she's determined to use this power for a specific purpose. Seeing he's doomed anyway, Seika resigns early, and she makes it clear she'd never use her hacks to win a game. Then she admits she wants his support, and Seika immediately asks for her true intentions before he gets caught in royal drama. She describes a vision of young people playing near a massive hole they don't see, and she wants to stop them from falling in. And she wants to stop that from happening. She can't give away too many spoilers or the future might change, but Seika agrees to help out however he can. Soon it's time to head back, and Luft shows up to see them off like a reliable big brother. Mabel's complaining about her vacation ending, but Seika reminds her that studies are calling. They start the journey, with Seika riding in the carriage with Glai and the princess since it's the most stable. Glai is surprised Seika even has a weakness, probably expecting him to be a perfect god, while Seika watches the perimeter. Suddenly an explosion hits a carriage, but it turns out to be a decoy, meaning these attackers aren't random idiots, they actually have a plan. Seika steps out to find bandits surrounding them. They fire a volley of arrows, but Seika creates a magnetic cloud that stops them all cold, making their offense look totally pointless. They try earth magic next, but Seika just swats it away with a barrier like he's brushing off flies. Glai and the knights fight back, while the princess asks to keep them alive, so Seika uses vines to grab every bandit at once, ending the fight in seconds. Afterward, they wonder why anyone would be dumb enough to attack a guarded conv like this. The princess thanks Seika, revealing she has way too many ops to count, so she can't be sure who sent them. She already saw this coming and even prepped spare carriages for the prisoners, flexing her foresight once again. Seika's worried about the risk, but she explains the bandits are waiting for reinforcements that are never coming, they've already lost. They finally arrive at the capital, and she thanks them again, reminding Seika she's always in his corner. Elsewhere, the demons are on the move with one goal, to unalive the hero. Days later, Seika's back at the academy and told he's representing the student body. Yuki's worried this will blow his cover as a shadow puppet master, but Seika plans to act like a regular student to stay off the radar. It makes him look less suspicious, but Yuki is still stressed about his true power being exposed. Seika tells her not to sweat it, since he can handle problems without drawing a crowd. Just then, he senses a disturbance in the force and tells Yuki to stay close. Just then, he senses something off and tells Yuki to stick close to him. Meanwhile, Zorman's demons arrive at the city walls for their mission. He's feeling uneasy, wondering why he's worried about unaliving one measly girl. He brushes it off, assuring the team it'll be a smooth slaughter once they round up all the students. He teleports them into the academy under a thick fog. The NPCs don't even raise an alarm, thinking it's just the weather. But Mabel spots Murderev and instinctively goes on the offensive. This blood-hungry lunatic actually survives her combo and commends her skills. She loses her axe and switches to magic knives to bind him, but he still breaks free. She tries again, but Murderev blocks her and counterattacks. However, once the dust clears, Mabel has completely vanished. Suddenly, the demons realize they're in the wrong spots, with shikigamis standing where their targets should be. As they're trying to process, Seika spawns in on a magic circle. Zormum scans his stats and is absolutely shook by what he sees. Seika reveals that only Murderev fought a real person, the rest of them were just fighting his paper clones. Murderev gets hyped for a duel, but his head suddenly drops like a literal bowling ball. Polaria thinks it's a good time to use her evil eye on Seika. Zormum tries to stop her, but it's too late. Seika summons a white serpent that stops her heart with a single glance. Loney tries to play hero with his taming skills, but as he tries to flee, the snake just digests him like some deep-fried wings. Zorman finally realizes he's catching a massive L and tells Ganys to sprint back home to tell the squad that the Demon Lord has officially respawned and is out here simping for the humans. Ganys tries to get his boss to log out too, but Zorman knows he's getting packed up, so he spams his strongest spells just to try and parry one of Seika's mid-tier attacks. Minutes later, Ganys is tweaking in the woods with third-degree burns, trying to catch his breath until he suddenly catches a massive slice across his chest from a total ghost. Turns out our boy Seika had already signed their death certificates and sent them to the gulag before he even rendered into the fight. Yuki is out here catching second-hand trauma, admitting she's terrified of her master because bro doesn't even need to chant to drop a tactical nuke on someone's forehead. Just as Seika acts like he just finished a casual side quest, our goth baddie Mabel pulls up and asks if he saw the assassins she was supposedly fighting. Seika realizes his stay away spell failed on her because she's been a total gooner for defeating Murderev this whole time, completely ignoring the danger. He tells her the trash has already been taken out, and when she asks if he was the one behind the slaughter, he tells her to keep that info on the low. Minutes later, he slides into the banquet hall to join the rest of the lobby and talk about Amu's speech. Suddenly, a bunch of knights storm in like they're searching for an illegal stream and demand to see our red-haired baddie. Once she uncloaks, the head knight announces she's under arrest for supposedly unaliving a demon messenger. Bro, she's really catching lacking in 4K. Confused, Amu asks what kind of brain rot they're yapping about, but they don't care and aggressively grab her anyway. Yifa and Mabel are ready to crash out on these knights right then and there. But Seika tells his wafers to stand down because he thinks he can prove her innocence without catching a permanent ban. The guards start tweaking and try to arrest Seika too for running his mouth and having too much aura. But the lead knight tells them to pipe down because everyone in this academy is a rich noble's kid with a lawyer on speed dial. So they dip with Amu, and Seika immediately heads to the principal's office to report the devious licks. The dwarf principal explains that the Empire thinks Amu is the only one who could have cleared the demon raid, so they're pinning the crime on her. She claims she's doing her best to get her out, but Seika goes full edgelord, asking if her mid-tier efforts are enough to save Amu before she gets permanently deleted by her ops. Seeing the principal's brain blue screen, Seika drops a fake apology for being blunt and heads out to meet his remaining baddie squad. Mabel and Yifa are desperate for the tea, but Seika calmly gaslights them into thinking the principal has everything under control while he plots some real menace activity. They both ask if he's really just gonna sit there while their bestie gets packed up, but Seika just insists that the script will work itself out. But hold up, minutes later, he ducks into the woods to summon his giant snake pet Mizuchi, who naturally tries to combat log and run away again because bro is a toxic owner. Seika forces him back, but Yuki starts yapping that he should just forget about Amu if he really wants to avoid his previous life's tragic game over screen. Seika tells her to keep glazing, so she explains that saving Amu will put him right in the spotlight he's been trying to avoid like the plague. He'll basically become a public enemy of the Empire, but Seika gets tired of the yapping and tells his fox waifu to shut her face hole before he sends her to the backrooms. As they start their high-speed raid toward the Empire's maximum security prison, Amu is in her cell wondering if she'll ever see her friends again until she sees a familiar face rendered in the shadows. Moments later, Seika breaches the prison airspace and uses his clones as a literal staircase because walking through the front door is for NPCs. He scoffs at the absolute trash-tier aerial security before some random guard finally catches him lacking and sounds the alarm. In seconds, Seika is surrounded by the whole server. But as the archers try to spam arrows, he just scatters them with a gust of wind like he's playing Minecraft on creative mode. When they try for a round 2, he turns his paper clones into literal boulders to crush their hopes and dreams. He heads deeper into the dungeon until more knights pull up, so he summons a psychotic monster that slices through their bodies like they're made of warm butter. Seika joins the lobby by incinerating every last soldier with his white flames until the entire room is just a bunch of crispy NPCs. When he finally reaches Amyu's cell and melts the bars like they're chocolate, she starts worrying about his noble family's social credit score. Seika literally couldn't care less, but she keeps yapping for him to go back to the academy so she can find a legal way out of this lobby. That is, until Seika drops the truth bomb that they're planning to unalive her because her power level is way too high for their comfort. Just as Amyu asks what he's yapping about, he senses a threat and tries to attack, but it's just his toxic older brother Glai. Glai asks what he's doing, and Seika asks if he wants to get folded in a 1v1 again, but then Princess Fiona spawns in to stop the salt. Seika demands the unedited truth about Amyu, so Fiona explains that being the hero makes her a massive threat to the server's stability. Everyone was hyped for the hero's rebirth until they realized that a hero spawning in means a war event is about to trigger, and nobody wants to play that. Even the demons are sending assassins because they're trying to dodge the war and just live their lives. Amyu's existence is basically a ticking time bomb for a global conflict, so the Empire's top players would rather just delete her in secret. Seika already knew this, so he asks if they're really going to pack her up just for being born with broken stats. Fiona tells him Amyu hasn't even reached her final form because he keeps kill-stealing and protecting her from every challenge the game throws her way. She begs him to leave and promises to get Amyu back to school safely, while Amyu tries to say that Fiona and Glai were actually being good friends. But Seika tells her to pipe down, saying he can't trust Fiona because she only rizzed them up just to prepare for this exact betrayal. Fiona is heartbroken by the roast, but she knew he was a savage, so she tells Glai to call off the knights while she takes the duo to getaway carriage. She's already pre-ordered a safe house for them in the city of Rachna. After a quick thanks, Seika hits a massive undo button on all the damage he did to the prison, and even revives the knights he just barbecued. But Fiona gets super pissed because she was gonna blame the whole raid on a rogue demon, and now the evidence is gone. She eventually takes the L and wishes them luck before logging back into her royal life. Moments later, Amyu tries to talk about their future, but Seika is too busy trying to figure out the controls on this rusty-ass carriage like a total noob. Meanwhile, a demon camping in Fiona's shadow asks who that unit was because Seika's aura was radiating off the charts. When Fiona calls him this generation's actual demon lord, the shadow demon is baffled why he's out here helping the hero. Fiona says it's because Amyu is his bestie, adding that Seika would help anyone even if it ruins his own questline. Days later, Fiona sends a message to Yifa and Mabel to let them know the duo isn't dead yet. Much later, our pair finally reaches Rachna, only to find Mabel already causing a scene, while Yifa is desperately trying to de-escalate the situation like a tired mom. Now that the baddie squad is back together, will Seika finally show them his magic wand? Comment part 2 to find out, and don't forget to smash that like button and turn on notifications for more unhinged recaps.